All right, before we get started here, it's important to look at the toolbar. Many of these tools work very similarly to the ones in the Adobe suite. So we'll just start at the top with the hand tool, and it is the same in when you want to move around. I'm going to go right below here, the zoom tool. So if I click here, obviously I'm zooming in. So then if I want to use the hand tool, I click on it, and there I can move around. So it's very curious that beside the zoom tool is the magnifying glass. And this, to me, seems like the same tools. If I click on this, I'm just kind of going in and out, in and out. The only way I have really discovered to get out is to hold down Option and click. So, and it's very curious to me that when you're using, I use the zoom tool, that the magnifying glass also is active. So it's strange indeed. Welcome to Pointcarre. Just to prove my point, I really don't know what the difference is. I skipped this. This is the rulers, which rulers is always a very useful thing. But I'll take those off for now. This is the clone tool. So in Photoshop, there is a clone and stamp tool, and this works very similarly to those. Here, evaluation, I have never used it in my life. Likewise, background proof, I have not used. This one, repeat mode, you will be using a little bit later on. You will come to use it often. Here, the grid tool in Photoshop and Illustrator, you can show your rulers, you can show grids, and that's exactly, if I turn this on now, I would have to zoom in a bit, and there you can see we have a grid. I'll turn it off for now. Here, moving steps, never used it. Ink, never used it. This, the eyedropper tool, works exactly the same as in Photoshop. What's very interesting here is color protection. So there are going to be times very shortly where you're going to want to protect a color and not alter it in any way. And you would use this to select that color, and then you would hit the color protection. This is very similar to the foreground background that we see in the Adobe suite. So here we call it fill, and here it's called line. So we could also think in Illustrator, it's like your outline or stroke. And then this very interesting third color area called background color. And when we are making repeats, that will be extremely important. So there's a bucket tool. There is, to the best of my knowledge, all you can do is dump fill. You know, I just started to think, can you do a pattern tile? I don't believe you can. We got an eraser, a pencil, a brush. This is very interesting. Again, when we get to repeats, we are going to be making some pattern brushes. And here is how I don't have any pattern brushes right now, so there's not much point in me clicking on it. Well, actually, if I clicked on it, it would show you, just my canvas here. But you will eventually have multiple pattern brushes, so you select the one you want to use, and then to actually use the pattern brush, you would click on the icon beside. This is a line tool, and this rectangle filling tool we will use a lot in repeats. And then we've got a bunch of tools that are frankly more for editing an image, text. I just don't think we're going to be having text. Stamp tool, spray, gradient, floating selection tool, we will most definitely use again with repeats. So some of these are for, as I said, when you want to edit in the your image, but frankly, my best advice would be to edit in Photoshop or Illustrator. Do not be playing around. This is kind of a clunky program that does certain things very well, such as reducing color, which we will be doing shortly. I'll show you something that's kind of cool though. So when I click on my palette, take a look, my toolbar just changed. And we'll get into that a little bit further, and that is one of the delightful quirks, I'll call it, of Pointcarre. If I click back over here on my image, then it goes back to the regular toolbar. Okay, let us start reducing colors.